shortest agenda I've ever seen.
I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
They might start.
All right, good evening and welcome to the City of Sunbury Council meeting. It's April 20th, 7:30 p.m. Would you please join me in a moment of silent prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance? Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Joe St. John.
Here.
Damon Capel.
Here.
Tim Goes.
Here.
Murray Neff.
Here.
John Grumney.
Here.
David Martin.
Present.
Cindy Cooper. Here. 7 present.
We did have a meeting on April 6th and there are minutes to be approved. Would anybody like to make a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Damon Capel,
Second.
second by Mrs. Cindy Cooper. Discussion? Roll call.
Damon Capel.
Yes.
Cindy Cooper. Yes. David Martin.
Yes.
John Grumney. Murray Neff.
Yes.
Joe St. John.
Yes.
Tim Goes.
Yes.
6 yeas, 1 abstention.
We're on to the visitors section this evening, and I know we have at least a couple of visitors. I'd like to invite Mr. Gary Soltis up to the podium to give just a brief overview of some of the Rotary activities, library activities that are going on in our area in the near future. Thank you.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for that. My name's Gary Saltis. I'm a member of the, I have to be careful, Sunbury Galena Rotary. I used to be a member of the Westerville Sunrise, where I was with Tim.
me, yeah.
We did the ICANN program for a year and together with the second graders, but I moved since COVID finished. I said, I need to come to the Sunbury Rotary. So we have just become a peace building club. Rotary International is the overall for Rotary. There's 1.4 million Rotarians in the world, 35,000 clubs in the world, over 200 countries. And right now the push, and it has been for the last 2 or 3 years, is every Rotarian is a peace builder. So we have become a peace building club. And what we do is take on projects. One of the projects we wanted to do was we have peace poles. Peace poles can be 4 feet or 8 feet tall, and there's either 4 or 8 different languages. And each language will say, may peace prevail on earth. What we wanted to do is we have ordered 2, we have 2, and we're giving one to be put up at the library, and another one we want to put it up in one of the schools. And we want to start donating these to the schools so that they have a peace pole, so that they can start having conversations around peace. That's the essence of our work. The Institute for Economics and Peace is a global organization that measures global peace index. They have a program out. They have 2 types of peace: negative peace and positive peace. Negative peace is the absence of violence, but the absence of the fear of violence. Positive peace is the institutions, the attitudes, and the structures that can give you sustainable, positive peace. We have to start finding out what our fear of violence is, especially with kids in school, if there's any bullying or things like that. How do we work towards that? How do we start having conversations around the peace pole that we start getting to know each other as human beings? And then how do we help each other be successful? So we're going to do our first peace poll next to the library on May 6th. And so I'm talking to Tim today, and I know that there's going to be a tree planting ceremony. So we want to somehow schedule it so that we have them at different times. This one that we're going to be placing at the library is going to be a service project for one of the schools. And we will have students coming and being part of the planning of the Peace Bowl.
And that, thank you. That's Dr. Saltis too, as I recall.
Yeah,
Correct?
I used to be
Esteemed cardiologist.
I had to give it up. I had 2 neck surgeries. So
Mhm.
now I work for peace and I work coaching people to transition their lives.
Yeah, so yeah, Dr. Saltis included me in earlier today, and I forwarded some information to Mr. Piles about it. And it's my understanding the library has approved it, the board and/or Chauncey,
Yes,
and it's being installed on the library property
correct.
somewhere outside near the Fallen Heroes
Yes,
memorial area.
there is a gazebo that, and we're going to look at it Friday to identify the exact position, but we wanted it close to the Fallen Heroes as well as the library, because then this is something that everybody can come to and start having these conversations.
And if I may, the gazebo is right next to the Fallen Heroes Trail, that the paved trail that we had put in there. So it would be very fitting there. Yes.
I think it's important to point out too, it's totally non-political, correct?
Correct. And it's.
There's no other words on it.
It's a gift from Rotary, our Rotary Club, Sunbury Rotary. It's our peace project for our club. There are 40 clubs in the district that are peace builders. And so this is something we're trying to do. This has been done in Hilliard. It's been done in Dublin and Granville. And they both have put these on, and then they were developing a little bit more to have a little garden around it. But for the library, they don't want to have anything more seating or anything like that. We just have the peace bowl though, which the gazebo is right next.
Yeah, I think we're all more than happy to assist. I know that Mr. Mayor's planning on being there. I plan to be there.
And that's why I wanted to share it. We'd love to have as many people as we can.
Did you have a date for that? Did I
May
miss it?
6th.
It's the volunteer day, that Friday, May 6th.
Oh, okay.
And I
So
think
you want to
that's
have it
probably how
at a
it happened
different
because of
time?
The students, this is a service project for the students as well. So
Okay.
we don't know yet because we want to make sure we coordinate it so that we're at different times.
Mhm.
Okay. And this, you're only going to be doing the one at the library first.
Correct.
And then you want to eventually maybe put one up at one of the schools.
And I'm going to be meeting with the people from the school district to see where we can go with our next one. Yeah.
I think probably Officer Whiteside would be a great contact.
He's a good liaison.
He's on vacation though, isn't
Yes.
Currently, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy to take the charge, or Dave Martin or Tim. We can figure out who can
he?
assist you with that.
And I'm open. My goal is to how do we create peace? And how do we start having conversations? But more importantly, how do we get to know each other? How do we get to know each other's backstories? What are our challenges? What are our objectives? What are our cares, fears, needs, hopes, and dreams? And once we know that, then we're together as two human beings and not as objects, as the outward mindset from Arbinger's work talks about. So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It sounds like a great.
Can you just tell me real quick though, about Rotary? How do you guys, are you meeting in person? Do you meet here?
Yes.
And how often, is it a
Every-
club or
every
is
Tuesday
it membership?
Yes, it's a service organization. Yes, we do that. It's a service organization, and service above self is our motto. And we are a club that do different projects. We have the water overseas. Sunbury was the first one to start that. And now I think there are 13 clubs that make wells all over in Africa and other different areas. We're also doing the scholarship for the DACC. And we're going to be having interviews. We have, I think, like 45 students going for the scholarships this year. And
How often do you meet?
we meet every Tuesday morning, and we'd love to have all of you come and visit us. We meet every 7:30 downstairs every Tuesday morning.
But the last Tuesday of the month, we meet in the evening for dinner
And we have a
at
social
different restaurants. So.
Or if you're not available on Tuesday morning, you can come Wednesday morning to Westerville Sunrise, where I go. And we have a great buffet breakfast every Wednesday morning. And
Right.
one thing on our Westerville Rotary, not to overshadow yours, but the Cleveland Avenue Memorial Day flag project or the 3,000 flags that are planted
Yes.
there on Cleveland and
The field of
main
heroes.
Field of Heroes.
Yeah,
That's done by our group.
great.
And in
Thank
4
you.
hours, 3,000 flags are put
Yes.
up by volunteers. It's a wonderful sight. Yeah.
And also, one other thing, I asked Mr. Piles to offer up any of our hole digging materials or equipment. Need help with that or?
Oh, that would be great. I'm gonna check with Al Blythe and Chauncey. We're gonna meet Friday, but I will get with you. And we'll have some time to coordinate that. I appreciate that too. Thank you. And anybody else you think would be interested, please, we'll spread the word. And if I can be of any assistance, sharing stories or whatever about this, I'd be happy to. I'm always available.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you.
Saltis. And sorry I called you Gary Saltis. That's all I knew him as.
I don't do any acute medicine.
We used to work out together, believe it or not, at CrossFit, and this guy outworked everybody 3 years ago. So I didn't know he was a doctor until afterwards, which is always nice. But thanks again.
Thank you.
Great message. Easy to stand behind that.
Mhm.
Are there any other visitors that would like to speak? All right, thank you. We're on to committee reports. Mr. Gose.
Yes, we held the Finance Committee meeting, monthly meeting earlier this evening. We had essentially 2 major items on the list. The first that we talked about was the space planning and utilization project. Mr. Hennessy filled us in detail along with the representative from Management Partners, Mr. Dave Collinsworth. I believe we have something on our agenda this evening for a motion and a vote for his proposal. And secondarily, we talked primarily about the Sunbury Parkway district level planning and where that is. And we introduced an exhibit about the mapped out area that we're looking at, and that I believe a request proposal is going out soon for that project. Other than that, I think that's it.
Great, thank you. Mr. Grundy? All right, Mr. Capel?
One quick update on school board. Superintendent Angie Hamburg has recently submitted her, I don't know if submitted her resignation or intent to resign by the end of the school year. So that's pretty big news for Big Walnut. We'll keep everybody up to date as they go through search and eventually appoint somebody new.
Thank you. Mrs. Cooper?
Got a couple, so buckle up. We had our very first events and commemoration
All right.
meeting. It was rocking for being 10 o'clock in the morning. We had a guest and everything. I thought it was a really good meeting because it gave the committee a chance really to talk with staff. And it was a lot of back and forth with Olivia and Mr. Piles, and it was really great. We had most of the talk was about how are the events running now? How have they run in the past? How can we make it easier for staff, residents, council? How can we in the future? And we sort of crossed this line of public use and public space and public impact. So if the event would be using public space or there's going to be a public impact, road closures, et cetera, that would probably go through the events committee. If it's something like they just want, block off a road for a block party staff, well, that won't necessarily have to come through us. The guest was Nancy Crawford. She offered great feedback from the chamber's perspective. And we also discussed, we had a quick look at Westerville's special event application that they use. And it's a big one. It's 27 pages long. So we're thinking maybe we could pare that down. But it had, instructions, procedures, timelines, responsibilities, insurance, safety, anything that could come up, they have written down. And so the committee thought, this is great. Let's use this and make it applicable to Sunbury. So we're going to meet again next month. We expect that we'll meet on a regular basis, maybe for 6 months or so, until we can kind of get into a routine and a grind. And then we don't think that is going to be a committee that will necessarily have to meet monthly once we get going. In addition to that meeting, we also had a zoning meeting. We met on March 28th. We heard from Dovfield Partners again regarding property along 3Bs and a K south of Sherman Road. This time, the developer came in with significant changes, including side yard setbacks, green space, pavilions, benches, density. It was great. The commission approved that, and that will be coming to council. Yes.
Mhm.
And then we also heard an informal review from Highland Real Estate. They were discussing land south of the new Sunbury Parkway, but north of Cheshire Road. So it was very much fluid, and there's no road there yet. So it was just like generally kind of maybe this area, this is sort of what we're thinking, like that. The commission's main concerns were density and some road access issues, but overall a good zoning meeting, I thought, productive. Yeah.
Thank you, Mrs. Cooper. Mr. Martin.
Top that.
I was nothing to say following that. No, I don't have any committee report.
All right, thank you.
Nothing.
All right, thank you very much. We're on to the administrator report.
Thank you, Mayor. You have my report in your packet. I just will touch on a couple things. We are working through both the finance director posting, and today we interviewed for the finance clerk position. We've got one more interview. I think it's on Friday for that, and narrowed it down to 6 potential candidates, and we'll probably narrow that field down one more time. On the planning and zoning front, Friday between meetings, I'll be doing another corralling of the signs that have cropped back up in the right of way, and disposing of the dozen or so that have been on my porch for 2 weeks.
Here, can I ask you a question? I think about this every time I see one now. Can we just have our streets department remove those as opposed to you? Because they're out there every day. I mean, you have Officer Bowman, wrangling up street signs if we wanted to.
I'd be happy to deputize a few people to be my
I thought about
street sign.
But if you want your house power washed right now, I'll tell you what, there's plenty of vendors that are advertising on our land.
Yeah. So, I'll see what I can do in terms of
I
deputizing.
want to empower the staff, and as they see it, just jump out, throw it in the truck and go.
Dave Martin walks a lot. Maybe he could be
Hey, just give
grabbing them.
Yeah, come on, Dave.
I would need direction from Mr. Bream about if there's anything in our ordinances that say who is allowed to make those decisions and who would be allowed to remove those signs.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. I don't know that there's anything, but I want to check. If it's in the right of way, it's fine. You don't want to remove a illegal sign even on somebody's property.
Right, yeah.
Unless you've got the.
And the translation of whether it's legal or not becomes an issue, so I'd be glad to grab them up if I knew it was legal.
Dave Martin
They're on the
arrested.
side of brazen. Just kidding.
I worry about you enough reading and walking. If you're carrying something.
Well, there is that, but.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
That's fine. And the final thing I wanted to do is give a shout out to Brad and the service department for the work they've been doing around the administrative building, getting it cleaned up. And we're also preparing for an end of May service day with a local church, and repairing the porch so that it's structurally ready to be painted. And what we found was we had a little bit of rot at the bottom of many of the timbers, so they've been slicing them off, rebuilding them, and getting it ready to get a good coat of stain. So
Great, thank you. We are on to the engineer report. Mr. Hall.
Thank you, Mayor. I think I'm getting up to speed on most things. Updated the report, was in your packet. Just a couple of highlights. 2022 street program, we are complete, ready to advertise. Just checking with Steve on a couple things, and that'll be advertised probably early next week. So
Great.
again, that's South Columbus Street, and Kittner Parkway, and some brick repairs on East Granville, and a few streets in the cemetery. Working to repair the sewer on Letts Avenue. Some activity on that recently, just working with Dale and Steve and Daryl on that to get that figured out. We have a plan of action we're working through. Contacted Mike Zimmerman from Delaware for a quote. We do have some utility conflicts on top of these repair areas, so we gotta figure that piece out. Private development wise, Ravines at Meadow Ridge continues to move on. We are working right now to develop MOU on access there on Sunbury Parkway. There's been some recent meetings with ODOT as well. All good there. We'll report more detail as soon as we have that worked out. Also been working on, Dave and I have a golf course road agreement between the Rolling Hills and the Price Ponds properties to have golf course road improved. So we're working out language on that agreement to work with both developers to move forward with the reconstruction of golf course road along the frontage of both of those developments. So that's been active as well. Any questions? Glad to answer any questions, concerns, ideas.
Can you tell us,
ahead.
sorry, can you tell us where we are, Wes? Maybe John Marr has more information on phase 2 flooding of the trail, what we're doing there.
Yeah, waiting for Cameron Facemeyer is gonna come back out and regrade that side towards the creek. He's didn't want to bring the equipment down there until it dried out a bit. We think we're finally out of the spring rains here. It's going to be warm this weekend. So both our inspector, Charlie Knotts, and Bill Mart, our construction manager, we've been watching and talking with Cameron to find the time that he can get in there and then grade that. Secondly, we're going to survey that section just to check that again, come up with additional things there to correct that drainage, along with phase 3 and 4 on that potential rerouting of that phase 3 trail. So John's working on all that.
Do you foresee another meeting with any of us here on the routing of that?
Yeah, what we're going to do is stake out, because there's that narrow strip that we're thinking might be a potential alignment. So we're going to stake those corners out. And then John's going to take some woodlath and ribbon and put the potential center line of the new trail, and then get a meeting with whoever would like to attend that for a walkthrough to check that. So that's his plan of action there.
Okay, and then the final grading, that'll include planting the grass, right? Seeding? Or are you going to hold
There's
off?
still punch list items on Mr. Facemeyer's contract. Yeah, there's seeding, the RFB on Granville, the flasher, there's a chip that they're trying to obtain to get that operational. The pavement markings have come up.
Crosswalk.
That's on his punch list as well. So there's a few things. So it's just pending weather conditions to come back and be able to correct those items.
Thank you.
At last month's meeting, Mrs. Cooper brought up about the finished look of the paved paths around the reservoir.
Okay.
And there are places up there where the pavement is lower than the mud. And so if you have a rainy time, the blacktop is covered with mud at portions of it. And I didn't know if there was any finished grading expected to be done around that blacktop or not. So if that's something you could check with Facemeyer about also, I'd appreciate it.
Check into that.
Thanks.
Have we heard if the car wash is still scheduled to open at the end of the month?
It is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any day.
The weather will be nice for that.
On the day of the opening, yes, we plan for good weather that day.
Yeah. Until everybody washes their cars under.
The next day, yeah.
Question. Is there a date certain set on that yet?
I have it on my phone. I can check it. You guys all want to hold it for me? No, I'm just kidding. I do have it on my phone. I think it's next week sometime. They've been running it. I know that.
Have they?
Yeah, they've been doing test washes.
Okay.
So, and remember the first week on the house.
Free. For the whole week?
Whole week.
Wow.
They're testing the equipment. So, I mean, we have to sign a disclosure or something.
So you're taking your own risk. by going through that, but-
Ought to get a charity or Rotary group in there for donation, you know?
Do it. All right. Was there any other
That's it,
questions?
yeah, thank you.
I wanted to give a little bit of recognition to the three gentlemen over there. Wes, Dave Bream, and Steve Piles have been doing a really nice job behind the scenes, buttoning up very complex legal documents, proposals, MOUs, development agreements, NCAs, every single thing that you can think in terms of complexity and weaving it together. They're doing a great job. They're like a great bowling team.
And Mr. Hennessy.
And Mr. Hennessy. Oh, obviously, Mr. Hennessy. But you guys are doing a great job. I know you don't hear that enough. And thank you.
I second that. Truly appreciate it.
All right. Under resolutions, we have no third, no second readings. We have a first reading resolution number 2022.02. A resolution approving participation in the One Ohio Region 18 governance structure under the One Ohio Memorandum of Understanding and declaring an emergency. Is this the settlement agreement?
Yeah, this is it has to do with the opioid settlement.
Oh,
It's
okay.
basically approving our participation in the structure to deal with that settlement. We are in a region, I think it calls it section 18 or district 18, that involves several counties. Our county will be represented by the individuals set forth in the ordinance. I think the probate juvenile judge is on there, Berlin Township trustee, Radnor Township trustee.
County Commissioner, I saw
County
Mr. Merrill.
Gary
Tom
Merrill is
Holman.
on there,
Yeah.
Tom Holman from
Yeah.
Delaware is on there.
Six
These are
or seven.
very well distinguished and well
Yes.
established folks, a good cross section of the county.
I agree.
And we are basically nominating them by this to represent Delaware County in that overall structure as they try to deal with this whole monster of the opioid settlement. I wasn't involved in, that's what the ordinance says. I wasn't involved anymore if there's backstory, but other than that, I would turn it over to whoever might know more.
We need action fairly quickly from what I remember.
Tonight, I
Tom,
think,
yeah,
there's a
Tom
deadline.
said something we need it by end of month and we don't have another meeting.
Correct. So there is emergency language in it. It's approvable, an approvable form for you tonight. If there aren't any questions, you need to suspend your rules and emergency and a vote on the ordinance.
Any questions before?
Motion to suspend.
A motion to suspend the rules by Dave Martin.
Second.
Second by John Grumney. Discussion, roll call.
David Martin,
Yes.
John Grumney,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes,
Murray Neff,
Yes.
Joe St. John.
Yes.
Ghost,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
7 yeas.
Motion on the emergency.
A motion on the emergency, Dave Martin.
Second.
Second by John Grumney. Discussion, roll call.
David Martin,
Yes.
John Grumney,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
yes,
Murray Neff,
Yes.
Joe St. John,
Yes.
Tim Ghost,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
7 yeas.
Motion on resolution number 2022.02.
A motion on the resolution by Mr. David Martin. Second. Second by John Grumney. Discussion, roll call.
David Martin,
Yes.
John Grumney,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
yes,
Murray Neff,
Yes.
Joe St. John,
Yes.
Tim Ghost,
Yeah.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
7 yeas.
We're on to ordinances, third reading, ordinance number 2021.49. This is going to remain tabled. This is related to the 744 multifamily unit development adjacent to Africa Road and 3Bs and a K Road. As Wes mentioned, we had a really productive meeting with ODOT, the county engineer's office, Sunbury, and DRK, also known as Metro Development, where we've agreed in concept on terms in terms of limiting the access onto future Sunbury Parkway. And I think everybody walked out of that meeting feeling very good. We've drafted business terms and we're going to get it in the hands of the our attorneys and Metro Development's attorneys, and we're creating an MOU between ODOT, Sunbury, and DRK, where we're all on the same page around, if it changes hands down the line, you can't change the access, more or less putting deed restrictions on it, limiting the access. It doesn't break the model in terms of traffic flow, and it accommodates the developer. That's all I have at this point. Any questions? All right, we have no second readings. We have a first reading, ordinance number 2022.20, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2007-31, amending building, engineering, and zoning fees for the city of Sunbury, Ohio. Would you like us to take action, Mr. Piles?
No, I think a first reading is appropriate for the community to be aware of and the development community to be aware of it.
Okay.
I thought there was also in a package a comparison, in a different format and columns, what the fee is now.
Yeah.
The new fee would be the percentage increase, help you become familiar with what it is. But a lot of these fees haven't been updated in a long time. We did leave the building department component of it alone, because if we went to Delaware County, which, as our inspectors, we would be using their fees. So we decided to leave that for the time being, versus create a bunch of confusion for a very short term. But other than that, it's first reading tonight. Glad to answer any questions at the next meeting.
I'd like to rename this individual council year as the Fix Everything Council.
Second.
Is that a motion?
Resounding second.
We're on to new and unfinished business. We did have management partners here earlier this evening at our finance committee meeting with an owner's representation agreement that we are in agreement with. And, and I'll open it up for discussion. I think there is the ability to motion and approve this and execute the agreement. I will make that motion.
I'll second.
We got a second by Tim Goes. Discussion?
I would like for it to be contingent upon final legal review. I did receive the updated agreement from Steve. When did we get it? The latest one?
3 or 4 months ago.
Friday?
Yeah, this last
Friday. And I think there were still some things we were trying to maybe get them to line item for us as far as deliverables that coincide to the component parts. Just be able to maybe make sure we can do that. So
I'd like to amend my motion to allow for legal review and approval.
I'll second.
Second by Tim Goes. Discussion? Roll call?
Joe St. John.
Yes.
Tim Goes.
Yes.
Damon Capel.
Yes.
Murray Knapp.
Yes.
John Gormley.
yes.
Cindy Cooper.
Yes.
David Martin.
Yes.
7 yeas.
We have one other item on here, and it is, I don't need to amend the agenda. I think I
Just
can.
need you to put that PO on there.
Okay.
Uh,
There's a purchase order. I'm happy to circulate this because I think this is a unique copy, one of a kind. Is that true? Okay, so there's a purchase order number 35608, totaling $15,659.06. It is the Ohio Department of Tax Income Refund.
Yeah.
And I'd like to circulate this so everybody can see it. I looked down through the line item details, more or less where companies for the most part are asking for refunds. And then we're,
What Rita
Big
does
state.
is Rita takes the pot and pays refunds out of the pot. The state does not do that on the ones that they administer. So they are expecting us to pay them back. Because
Are they
just get
asking for a
money.
refund because they worked from home?
No, I don't know that. It could have been overestimate. It could have been, because they paid estimates too high. It could have been
the common theme I saw, it looked like vendors that come into work, but they're not based out of here. And so like Coca-Cola was one, you think that guy or gal working in Kroger, setting up the display, and then they're out. There's got to be some calculation that they're using, mileage, time in store, something like that.
It is all business returns that the state does.
Right.
When they grab those and said we could do it better, and they could do it better.
Okay. I'm gonna make the motion, but not putting any pressure on anyone to make a second unless they're ready to, as we circulate it back down through. Page 2 or 3 is the detail.
It's a refund.
I'll second.
We have a second by Damon Capel. Any discussion while we're reviewing? I know this is on the fly. We're moving at the speed of private government right here.
Speedy Gonzalez.
Any questions from the 5 who reviewed it? Okay, I'm gonna go out on a whim. I'm a gambling man. Roll call.
Joe St. John,
Yes.
Damon Capel.
Yes.
Tim Ghost,
Yes.
Murray Neff,
Yes.
John Grumney,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper.
Yes.
David Martin,
Yes.
7 yeas.
All right, motion passes. Now we're on to new and unfinished business. I'm gonna start this side of the table. Mr. Murray Neff.
Nothing.
Did we meet with the BIA between our last meeting and this meeting? Did we cover the BIA?
We did cover the BIA.
Okay. Okay, good deal. All right, nothing there? New or unfinished business, Mr. Martin?
I'm just curious if a time has been established for the tree planting on May 6th yet.
I think they said they had not established the exact time. Is that right? They're still working out the details on logistics.
Okay.
I think much of that will depend on the availability of the Weatherby family. Yeah, and what time they prefer to have it, if I'm not mistaken, right?
The tree's ready, the M1's ready, so everything's ready.
Okay. Have you talked to Scott yet recently
I
about
haven't
time?
talked to Scott about time.
Okay,
I deal with items.
I'll reach out to him.
Get people.
Maybe we can try to get a placeholder in the next week and pending
Mhm.
weather.
Especially if we need to coordinate with the Peace Bowl.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
I'll check with Scott.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
My turn?
Yes, ma'am.
Just reminders about there's the Raising Leaders event on Monday, the 25th. And the Big Walnut, Sunbury Big Walnut Chamber of Commerce is having their community expo on Tuesday, April 26th, and that'll be at the new high school. So if you haven't had a chance to get over to that new high school, it'll be a great opportunity. Both of them are at the new high school, so.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Mr. Capel.
Nothing tonight.
Just in the form of recognition, I know I'm a little late on this, but a few weeks ago, Mr. Neff and I had an opportunity to, thanks to Mr. Pyle setting it up, look at the sewer plant and Dale walking around, and I was never a good science student. I know why now, because it's very complex. But it's amazing what he knows. And it's a very complex job with a lot of detail and a lot of science to it. And I was just thoroughly impressed with him and the process that him and his team go through to make sure that we have a functioning, well-run sewer department. So I really appreciate it, but again, my eyes were open for how complex and important that process is. So
Thank you very much for calling that out.
Yeah.
Mr. Ghost.
Let's see, this week, I think it was yesterday morning, had the privilege of attending the State of Delaware County annual meeting. And all the commissioners spoke. It was very well done, lots of videos. Commissioner Barb Lewis reported that the state of the county is strong. So that was encouraging. And I have a list here of road projects I'm going to circulate. There's 14 for this year, and so far 7 or 8 set for next year. One in particular around here is Carter's Corners, US 3637 by St. John Newman. They're going to widen the roads there for eventually a signal.
Galena Road is also, is it listed on?
Galena's Road there is summer of 2023, Galena Road and 3637. Same thing, widening and a signal. So I'm going to pass that around.
From what I heard from a few people that had called me afterwards, is they gave a specific shout out to Sunbury, excuse me. Who gave that shout out? How big was it? Could you reenact it?
Yeah, so Commissioner Benton, toward the end, he was talking about Sunbury. He says, and by the way, is Mayor St. John in attendance? And so I had to stand up for you. As I stand up, there's this loud applause, of course, for Mayor St. John. Boisterous applause. And I said, calm down. I said, Mayor St. John could not be in attendance. I'm here in his place. And then it went dead quiet.
Buddy, no, that's great. Thank you for attending, Steve. Thank you for attending, Wes. Thank you for attending. All things heading in the right direction, that's for sure. Anything else, Mr. Gross?
No, that's it.
I was just gonna say, you look on the inside of the brochure, right, prominently displayed is Sunbury and our growth. So.
Great, that's excellent. All right, promised I would do this. Noah's Ark still needs staffing. Please tell anybody you know. They still need staffing. And on the Raising Leaders event, I have the privilege of being one of the MCs for that event. This event, I've been asked, like, what are we talking about? This event is really, the goal is to get more kids to be involved in youth sports for longer, to drive down the disengagement, to anybody who played sports, at least in the era I grew up back in the 60s and 70s, it was a lot rougher. They wouldn't let us drink water and things like that. We had to drink water out of a sponge. We don't want that to happen here in Big Walnut, and we're going to give you practical ways to be able to keep more kids in sports. But no, seriously, it's going to be a really uplifting and practical symposium. There's teachers, there's principals, there's the head football coach. We've got folks from outside the community bringing in objective, practical things that you can do as coaches, parents. Even if you're a parent and you see your kid's coach berating the team, or they're in a closed door practice and you're hearing something, what avenues do you have to go, to make sure that, there's an accountability component there. And also
Food trucks.
There are food trucks at 5, so Dave will see you there. That's all I have. This is the shortest meeting in Sunbury history.
At Dave Martin's request.
I'd like to give credit to Dave.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Dave Martin. Second by Dave Capel. Discussion. Roll call.
David Martin,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
Tim Goes,
Yes.
Joe St. John,
Yes.
Marie Neff,
Yes.
John Grumney,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
7 yeas.
We're adjourned.